panelists that we are going to give time for them to share their experience in terms of real life experience from climbing the ladder in the halal career path. We have Miss Megawati Suzari. I think she started from the R&D and now she's the director of the new product development, scientific and regulatory affairs of Fonterra, the dairy company originating from New Zealand, if not mistaken. And then we have Mr. Mohammed Hafif bin Hanaffi, the head of Halal Affairs and Government Liaison, Pharmaniaga Berhad. I know him when he was just entered Pharmaniaga more than 10 years ago. I met him at Pharmaniaga. So he's right from the start, very, very junior level. And now he's the head of Halal Affairs. I'm so proud of his progress. Alhamdulillah. And then there's another one called Mr. Akhtar. He's from FNN Holdings. And if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Megawati and Mr. Akhtar, they are from other, discipline of work. And then they started to take the Halal Executive course. And now they are also certified Halal Executive, if not mistaken. And they have now championed Halal in their respective organization. And we are also joined by Dr. Ali, right, who had made the presentation just now. And Dr. Alina will be in the panel tomorrow. Okay, so we'll be covering about the success story of professionals in the halal industry, overcoming barriers to career progression, and the skills and competency for leadership in halal business. So without further ado, I'd like the panelists to be on board. And I hope that participants would not mind any exceeding of time, because I think the sharing is more important than anything else, yeah? So, as a start, Sister Megawati. Mega?
Yes, Assalamualaikum.
Welcome. And could you please provide a brief personal and professional introduction, your career path there, and can you share one personal passion that drives your commitment to halal sector?
Thank you very much, Madam Rozi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I'm very honored to actually be invited to share my experiences today. Currently, as mentioned, I'm the Director of the New Products Development, Scientific and Regulatory Affairs for Fonterra Brands Malaysia, which is actually a company that manufacturing of dairy products, including nutritional dairy powder, liquid, dairy foods, and others. So we cater to special needs of population, such as to infant and young children, pregnant and lactating mothers, to growing up children, and also to the general public through our milk powder and cultured product offering. We also manufacture processed cheese. We have a factory in Malaysia for QSR channel. I'm also the appointed CEO for Halal Products Research Institute, UPM. So I have been giving a number of talks and presentations to few webinars on halal-related issue. I've been in the industry for about 3 decades. On 1st of April this year, I'll be celebrating 30 years of working life. I started as a management trainee doing various food and beverages products category, moving to R&D manager focusing in baby foods, to NPD manager, and to where I am today as a director that taking care of a few units, in fact. I've always known to many as a technical person, and in the last 14 years with the role in leadership team of Fonterra Brands in Malaysia, I have gone deeper in strategic planning and management, including both technical and non-technical, including halal management. I graduated from the University of Wollongong, Australia, with Bachelor of Science with Honours in Chemistry, and later received an Honorary Master of Science from UPM, Malaysia. So in my current work, I think just to share a little bit, that I have leading the formulation work. In fact, this is actually my passion and also where my subject matter expert, formulation work for Malaysia and ASEAN country, where we export our products to more than 13 countries, which means I'm actually involved in leading the product innovation and renovation from concept to commercialization. So this requires deep understanding on science of formulation to be delivered, science-based facts on ingredients, application, efficacy levels, and permitted claim, processing and quality aspect, as well as halal compliance throughout this supply chain. So that is actually a quick overview of my background. And when Madam was asking, what is actually the passion that keep me going in this halal? So as I started to work professionally and attended various scientific international conferences, especially in Europe and all that, various topic of research for treatment and prevention of health issue. And I realized that halal was not a key consideration in clinical research many years ago. I'm talking about 20 to 25 years ago when I used to actually travel and attend all these conferences, at least not to this some key research that I attended. So there was this study particularly using one certain reaction, but I realized that the source of enzyme is actually non-halal. So clinical research is actually very expensive study, and it can actually cost at that time up to about euro 500,000, so that is actually very expensive to repeat. So what can I do? I cannot be asking them to repeat the research using halal-derived ingredients, right? It will be huge cost to them. And for me, at junior levels at that time, just understanding the halal, and suddenly for me to actually, hey, you are not using the halal ingredient. So not just costly for them to actually repeat, but it's also very time consuming because clinical research is actually not running for 1 month. Sometimes it can be up to a year and more. So what I can do also on my part, this is actually where I've been asking myself, being a formulator, what is actually my role? And the thing is, at that time, because all my work is actually in the multinational company, so I can try to use and leverage that. Because when I'm actually coming from this company, I can actually put a pressure and create awareness on the halal requirement for my target audience, yeah? Because I know that Malaysia is actually, the population is very, at that time also starts to have a good halal awareness. And I also, is a commitment to all the company that I have been working, is that halal is a priority and you must make sure that it's actually complied the halal requirement, because our reputation is actually very, very important. Therefore, as my role as a formulator, I got access to all the ingredient supplier and innovation center. And this is actually where I play my role to create on halal awareness and halal requirement. I work with supplier on checklists and guide them to the right people on halal compliance. I go through the process and question, asking the right question on potential halal cross-contamination and so on. So sometimes I may not necessarily take the ingredient from them, but it's good that at least I have created the halal awareness, and therefore for them to actually take this into consideration if they want to actually approach me in the industry. And also I've informed them many other multinational company and also company in Malaysia is actually started to look into this. So, and also in my role and capacity of halal advisor to the company, I need to go deeper other than technical aspect, provide leadership in crisis management, and ensure every product ingredient are to protect the halal integrity along the supply chain. It's not easy sometimes because, but I think it's worth the effort, because sometimes some of the processing, they have the IP. Not everyone is actually wanted to share the processing with you. But sometimes because of the halal, and you need to make sure that you actually comply to it. And this is actually where your negotiation skills actually coming in for you to actually get the understandings of that. And the other part is actually currently in my situation as a leadership team for Malaysia, I'm the only Muslim. I'm the only one who's taking care of the technical. So at the leadership teams, we have like 8 of us. I'm the only Muslim. So my other colleagues have non-Muslim, have limited knowledge in halal, and they rely on me. So can you imagine, I have 26 million of population in Malaysia where we sell our product, and I must make sure that's halal compliance and at the best. And the audience is actually getting bigger. As I mentioned, we also export to 13 other countries. But here, this is actually where it says with the bigger roles, it becomes with bigger responsibility. And this is actually my commitment to myself and also to my all colleagues, Muslim colleagues out there. Thank you. I hope that give you a little bit of background on myself. Thank you.
Very in-depth. And yeah, congratulations. I mean, it's not an April Fool. You
Yes.
you really did a 30-year journey. Yes, correct. Um, very, very wonderful indeed. To see that, you know, from a in a way, halal-oriented discipline, you are championing halal in the midst of majority non-Muslim colleagues, and all the challenges are there. Okay, we will talk about the challenges later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's wonderful to hear that, Mega, and I congratulate you for your perseverance, for your commitment in this area. All right, next, Brother Hafif.
Hello,
Welcome.
can you
Yeah,
hear
I can
me?
hear you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
I'm happy to see you here online.
Yeah, me too.
I still remember seeing you for the first time at Pharmaniaga.
Yeah,
A young guy, just
yes,
time joining the meeting together with experienced people. And yes,
yeah.
I'm so glad to see where you are now. I'm so happy for you. All right,
Thank
so
you.
the floor is yours to share your experience, please.
Oh, okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil amin. Sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallam. Assalamualaikum. A very good day for everybody. Yeah, Ramadan Mubarak. So, brothers and sisters, this is your brothers Muhammad Hafif bin Hanafi. So, my journey into the halal industry, I think is quite unique because I'm actually came from a background in Islamic studies and Arabic science. Yeah, graduated from Al Azhar University, but now currently working as a head of halal affairs and government license in Pharmaniaga as one of the biggest pharmaceutical industry in Malaysia. So can you imagine the graduate from Al Azhar University with Kuliatul Ulum Islamiyah, Islamic studies, working in the pharmaceutical backgrounds. So in Pharmaniaga, we manufacture and deliver pharmaceutical products across Malaysia, and also we do export globally. So you might be wondering also how did I end up in halal pharmaceuticals? Yeah, we do also medical devices and manufacturing lines. So well, that's the beauty of this field. So it's bring together our faith as a Muslims, yeah, from the Islamic background, plus the science and the industry, the advanced industry in pharmaceutical sector. So when I first started back in 2015, yeah, I graduated from Al Azhar Al Sharif back in December 2014, and Alhamdulillah, with the opportunity given by the Pharmaniaga, I working with Pharmaniaga in February 2015, and I think last month is almost a decade already, yeah, 10 years with Pharmaniaga. Yeah, so back in the time, I noticed that while halal food was well established, there was still a gap in the halal pharmaceuticals and medical devices. So many Muslims consumer, whether in Malaysia or across around the world, were unaware of what goes into their medicines. Yeah, the antibiotics, the paracetamol, yeah, the vaccines, and the healthcare products. So that actually realization sparked my patience to to bridge the gaps between the Islamic principles and the modern industry standards. Yeah. So previously, I was also invited part-time lecturer one of the university in in Malaysia, and up until today, I still continue to develop the training modules. Yeah, to enhance the industry knowledge. So now I have the opportunity to educate the industry player, either from the pharmaceutical sectors or food industry. And I have the privilege to contribute to the national halal policy. So I'm also becoming one of the panel members for the departments of the Standard Malaysia, yeah, appointed as a working group members for to draftings and revising the halal pharmaceuticals and halal medical devices together with Madam Rozi back in 2015, 16, right? So we need to work together in order to help in shape of halal guideline for pharmaceuticals and medical devices. And of course, we need to work closely with JAKIM. In Malaysia, we have JAKIM as a halal authority in Malaysia to update the Malaysia or the World Halal Certification Manual. So I truly believe that halal is not just about avoiding certain ingredients, yeah, but it is also related to the quality, yeah, safety, the efficacy, the ethics, and utmost the consumer trust. So that's why I'm here today to share my experience and insight on how we can work together to strengthen the halal ecosystem, inshallah, and always produce products that are not just halal, but also tayyib, inshallah. So looking forward to today's discussion, Madam, and all the participants, inshallah, and learning from all of you. Back to you, Madam Rozi.
Okay, thank you, Hafif. Alhamdulillah, I'm really very happy with your progress, and I look forward to more good news from you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
In a way, I'm passing the I'm passing the buck to you now on halal pharmaceutical.
Yes, yes.
Dr. Ali, this is the guy now.
Yes, totally.
All right. Okay, Brother Akhtar, I only see you during what do you call that, conferences and all that. We really not get to know each other that close, but I do see your face familiar during conferences whenever I have been able to attend. So I would like to get to know you too. Please, your turn to give the talk. The mic to you, Akhtar.
Thank you, Madam Rosie. Okay, a short introduction. Actually, my name is Akhtar Husseini. I'm currently the head of Halal Affairs in Fraser and Neave. And basically, the Halal Affairs department in Fraser and Neave is a young department. It's only been established in 2016, so we're like 9 years old. And actually, I'm a biochemist by profession, and I graduated from the University of Dundee, Scotland. Well, I mean, after hearing Megawati's intro, I think I know her better now compared to the time when I was working with her years and years ago. We used to work for the same company once upon a time. As for Hafif, I was still in some workshops, so I do meet him regularly. Okay. I don't have a long intro. Basically about myself. To be honest with you, my first job was actually a banker. Yeah, which is far away from my profession. But after that, I joined the food industry, and throughout my career, I've contributed and led several departments, which include quality assurance, manufacturing, marketing, and R&D. And finally, I'm in Halal Affairs. You did question about personal passion. Well, for me, I love the fact that I'm directly contributing to the halal ecosystem and the ummah. And it's not only by ensuring that, the products that we manufacture are halal, but also, by running programs. And I think Dr. Alina has mentioned HDC prior. So I have joined the HSPP programs, Halal Sourcing Partnership programs, where we develop small and medium industries. So I think my passion comes from, the knowing that whatever I'm doing directly impacts the Ummah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's a little bit of myself. Since we have so long intros, I think that's all from me. Maybe I pass back the floor to you, Madam Rosie.
In a way, I think you're a bit shy in sharing your experience. But yes, I think I would say that your experience in banking enhance your knowledge about business. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. I'm in a way I'm glad that when I approached you all, the three of you, you agreed to participate in this because what I wanted to share in this, take this opportunity to share with the audience is that in Malaysia, when we started, we all come from various backgrounds. I'm a certified public accountant and I'm doing halal. And, just like Hafif, with no background in the technicality of production or even product development, right? So it's a learning, and I'm glad that we are working in companies that allows us to expand our knowledge beyond our what do you call that profession. Yeah. So next up, Hafif.
Yes.
What actually drew you to the halal sector? And maybe it's because you were looking for a job and then Pharmaniaga accepted your application. But actually, why did you apply to Pharmaniaga? And how did your role evolve from how do you feel? How do you evolve in Pharmaniaga, from junior? And what makes you want to stay in Pharmaniaga and evolve to where you are now?
Okay. Thank you once again, Madam Rosie. So I think my journey into the halal industry started with a simple but important realization. So, and like I said earlier, that while the halal food is widely available, halal certified medicine are still limited. So many Muslims unknowingly consume non-halal ingredient in their medication due to the lack of halal certified alternative. So this made me ask myself, as a Muslim, why is halal in healthcare not as developed as in the food industry? So if we have halal certified restaurants and food products, so why can't we ensure the same for the life-saving medicines? Yeah. So from there, I started my career at Pharmaniaga as a quality assurance. Yeah, the first position is as a quality assurance, then appointed as a halal executive because at that time there is no such halal executive solely position at that time. So I'm focusing at that time on the checking the ingredients and ensuring halal compliance. So as I gained experience, so I took more responsibility improving the halal processes, conducting audits, and working with the certification body and the industry expert to enhance the compliance. So as we know in Pharmaniaga, it's actually we have 5 manufacturing plant, yeah, 4 in Malaysia and 1 in Indonesia. So at that time, we have like different set of policies on halal. Each manufacturing site they have their own halal policy, they have their own SOP, they have their own halal management system. So back in 2016, I've been promoted to senior halal executive, and then 2021 to overseas halal compliance between all the site manufacturing. So meaning that I focus on how to harmonize the policies and halal management system from all side manufacturing to ensure full compliance to the halal requirements. So one of the, why I want to work in the pharmaceutical as in Pharmaniaga. So because I think this is my responsibility because many of my friends graduated like myself, my field of studies, Islamic studies, becoming qadi, becoming ustaz, becoming lecturer, becoming, in the imam in the mosque. So I think this is my role. So this is my time to, to contribute something to the ummah. So I see this is the opportunity for me to contribute to the ummah. So siapa lagi kan nak buat kan? In Malay kan? So I took that opportunity and I work in Pharmaniaga up until today, 10 years already. So inshallah, I believe that with the continuous learning, teamwork, so Alhamdulillah, I grew from the junior level executive to a leadership roles, but my mission is still the same, which is to, to promote the halal awareness and ensure that the halal healthcare products are widely available, accessible, and affordable for everybody, Muslim or non-Muslim. So the journey is still continue. So inshallah, back to you, Madam Rozi.
In a way, I'm really Allah really you can see Allah's mercy and blessings and how He has make things work in His special way. How He make Pharmaniaga approve your application, right?
Yes.
He make you apply to Pharmaniaga and approve your application. He make you, instead of going to be Imam Hafif, you are now head of halal in Pharmaniaga in the field of
Alhamdulillah.
very technical pharmaceuticals, right? I'm really glad of that. Alhamdulillah, I'm very actually appreciative of Allah's blessings in this area. All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Ali, right? You
Yes.
introduced yourself shortly just now in your when you presented. But I would say, we met by, in a way, by not to say by luck, but I think driven by Allah also, that we met through the late Professor Almarhum Prof. Zari, a very beloved professor to me. Say, I'm still teary whenever I mention his name, even though he has passed for about 2 years ago. All right, but yeah, he still has a very deep impact on me. Yeah, is there anything that you'd like to share about your journey, in pharmaceuticals? And I believe you too is determined to continue the legacy of Almarhum Prof. Zari. I think
Yes.
we both are committed to his passion of wanting to do halal pharmacopoeia. I think you are in a
Yes.
better position than me to continue that. At least what I'm doing now is promoting the halal built-in, another aspect that he has promoted, and I hope I can continue his legacy on that. So could you share how do you come into the halal pharma per
Yes.
se,
Yes.
and what's your one personal passion in terms of this field?
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I'm pharmacist, graduated in 2004, so almost 20 years now since my graduation. And after I finish my degree, I teach for 1 year in university. Then I find the chance to study master degree in Malaysia. I go to USM in 2006, starting my pharmaceutical technology sustained release tablet studies at that time. During the same year, 2006, I went to Malaysia, 2006. It was a big conference at that time. I met Dr. Yaqub Chan at that conference at that time. He was offering master studies for halal for the first time in Malaysia at that time. But I was already registered in USM at that time. And I start to hear about halal when I go to Malaysia. because in Arabic country every food is halal, and the awareness regard halal is not that much, because no need for the import food from outside the countries. Most of the food is produced in our country, the majority, except meat for these things. At that year also, I met Prof. Zahari. I met Professor Said Azhar Sulaiman, all of these teachers from USM. So we have a good group of doctors in USM. And after I finished my master, I searched for many topics for my PhD. One of the topics that's suggested by Dr. Zahari is the halal pharmaceutical. So I work during my PhD about halal pharmaceutical. The idea was to make some practical part of the halal pharmacopoeia, to do some test to test halal pharmaceutical, but unfortunately we cannot make some lab issues, so we changed it to drug information study, and we study the bridge pharmacopoeia, all of the bridge pharmacopoeia, what's the medicine, from where the origin of the medicine, and the concept of the drug information, all of these things. We finished, alhamdulillah, the PhD at that time. I think it was the first PhD in halal pharmaceutical. I don't know if there is another people take it after that in halal pharmaceutical. I left Malaysia to Turkey, and I joined SMIIC after 2 years. I work in different halal companies between this time, as consultant, as trainer. I do some training in different field. Of course, I was teaching all of this time. During my master PhD, I was still teaching pharmacy student. And also when I go to Turkey, I teach also. So I have good chance to work with SMIIC in 2018. Alhamdulillah, after I work in SMIIC, uh, I make the Halal Technical Committee. We suggest the Halal Technical Committee for Halal Pharmaceutical. So we established the Technical Committee for Pharmaceutical. Before that, it was Food and Cosmetics, already established. One of the passion for me is during my study, during my PhD, I was every time complained that's how these people in the industry or in the government don't know these things. We should force them to do these things. If I am in the position to force people to do something, I will do like this. So when I went to SMIIC, I find it very good chance to put these things in terms of standards. Alhamdulillah, we are now responsible in SMIIC for all OIC countries, not only for one country. The standard is all for all OIC countries. Now, in such way, my suggestion is going for food, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical, and find it's very bliss from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He put me in position where people can accept my opinion and I can suggest something to help Muslim in all OIC countries. So alhamdulillah, this is my trip, and hopefully inshallah we complete in this standardization and in term of legislation for halal pharmaceutical and halal food and halal cosmetic.
You're an associate professor in which university?
Now in Turkey,
Yeah.
I'm teaching pharmacology for some private universities,
I see.
just pharmacology.
Oh,
But
so
halal
in the
pharmaceutical,
animal
halal pharmaceutical, just training.
Okay, that's
Mm.
good. But the key part is that you are in SMIC, a very good position to promote halal pharmaceuticals. So, since you, in a way, your work bridge academia and industry, right? I think similar to Sister Mega, since you are already have a foot into the university, so you are bridging academia and industry. How do you feel that? Or can you cite an example of how education and professional experience can be intersected to foster success in halal sector?
I can give some example uh, uh, about formulation, for example. When some people ask consultation, for example, a few years ago, regarding alcohol-free ointment, alcohol-free cream for some products in cosmetics, it will be very easy for me to suggest formulation which is halal compliance, at the same time how to give the same effect of the product. So we know from the experience from the pharmacy plus the halal compliance that we learn the alternative. This is the thing that we have it, the strength point that we have it. After we learn all of these chemicals, all of these ingredients, we have this strength point to find the alternative or to suggest the alternative for the companies. So this is one good point that I get it from learning halal. That's it's helped me in my formulation studies in different products.
Okay. Akhtar, was halal already part of FNN when you joined it? Or were you the one who started halal in FNN?
No, FNN already had halalification back in 2004, but back in 2016, I was the one who established a new organization structure, where we had as you know, for halalification, you need halal committee at the factory level, but during my time, we established a two-tier organization structure where we have a halal council made from top management in FNN. Yeah.
Yes, that's good. Alhamdulillah, that's just a background. When I was in CCM in 2008 itself, I would say it's like top down also. It's good that the top management look at it positively. So way back in 2008, CCM that time has already established at the top level this halal council. And then the halal committee, yes, of course, that's at the groundwork level. So there are those companies that started from out of a drive by the top management, and there are some companies that do it because it's a requirement. But I guess in either case, I think we should take opportunity to then make halal optimize that position to really bring halal to the center, right? To the center. So what actually I'm trying to understand how exactly did you go into halal in FNN? Was it that you applied, you requested from HR that I want to do this, or top management see that you have that potential and therefore offer you to take that position?
Basically, what happened was prior to establishing the Halal Affairs Department, I was heading the R&D and Scientific Regulatory Affairs Department in FNN Beverages Manufacturing. Right, and so the top management came up to me and just, I mean, it was a casual thing. They asked me about my opinion on the current halal system, what could be done. And so I gave some suggestions. I gave my point of view, and somehow or other, the CEO liked it, and I said, "Okay, why don't you lead this new department?" So yeah, it was really planned. But the only thing that management knew was that they wanted to take halal seriously, right? And they asked my opinion, so I give my opinion and my proposals and my strategy, and basically they said, okay, since it looks like you know this best, so they asked me to lead. And yeah, and one of the reasons why I agreed is because I think from my point of view, is an opportunity for me to be more involved and gain more insight into the business. Because if you look at it, halal encompasses all activities within the company, from raw materials, suppliers, processes, finance, imagery. Yeah. So to me, I look at it as a more wholesome role from my point of view. So yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. I think why management chose me was because I was in line with their vision in how to bring halal forward in the company, and they appreciated the way I led the department's and they sort of offered me this role then.
I would say it's also how you put yourself, forward to get the attention of the top management with your suggestion, right? When was the discussion? Was it during a meeting or how?
Yeah, it was a casual conversation with my CEO during a function. And then he thought about it, and then he said he wanted to hear more. And he asked me to present to him and the top management, and apparently they liked my vision, which is aligned to theirs, and yeah. So and out of the blue, they sort of asked me to lead it.
That's good. That's good. I mean, the reason why I'm asking this question is that I hope that our juniors, as they climb up the ladder, or as they are from studying, going into the to the corporate world, to the business world, they can emulate what we do in terms of getting the attention to bring forward the right messages, and so that we can implement this drive of halal. Yeah. Just like me, how I got from being the finance manager to get to lead halal by doing the marketing first, is that I was helping out the team of the marketing of Pharmaceuticals when they were promoting the products at the annual general meeting. So they have a booth there selling the vitamins, halal vitamins, to the shareholders. So the chairman was also there. The chairman of the company was also there, walking around, and I was promoting, and he was observing me, and then that's how it started. He was asking me, "Are you a shareholder or are you a staff of CCM?" I said, "I'm both. I hold shares of CCM, and I'm also an employee." And he said, "What are you doing?" "I'm a finance manager." And how come you're selling? So I said, "It's a passion. It's halal for halal. We are the first company to sell halal vitamins." So the next thing I know is that the CEO then asked me, just said, "Okay, Rosie, you are being transferred." That's it. And that's the start from scratch. So Mega, what about you? How is it from the, thinking about how in R&D, you're so enclosed in that environment in R&D, in that little lab of yours, just inside there, and then suddenly here you are out there, heading this thing, and together with all the non-Muslims surrounding you.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, I guess, to tell you the truth, sometimes I often do self-reflection, and I think sometimes I've just been destined by God to be doing this. I'm trying to actually go from one area to another, but somehow it just got it back here. Because in my actually, after I finished my studies, I've worked as a research assistant in the lab, because at that time I was doing the synthesizing alternative way of producing drugs. This is actually for schistosomiasis, a disease for the third world country. So it's actually working long hours in the lab, doing experiment that can run like 12 hours and all that. But after I finished that, and then I got the offer to actually do Master of Science, but I thought that home calling is actually higher, bigger at that time. So I decided to come home and working. And even at that time, I wasn't very sure where I wanted to be, but I was thinking that maybe it's actually food industry or a hospitalization. At that time, Subang Medical Center was so popular at that time, because I was actually doing nutrition and chemistry, and then finish off with chemistry. So I've got all that both background. And on the same day, actually, I got two offers. One is actually from one food company, a giant food company in Malaysia, and another one from Samsung. So, okay, naturally, I will go for food. And this is actually where I start to go into, because I started as a management trainee. It's actually exposure to all parts of the business, especially in the R&D part. And I got exposed to many different product category, and because we actually doing the technical part of it, so we are also the one who have to actually apply for halal application whenever we actually coming up with a new product. And this is actually something new that I have to pick up very fast. And at that time, there's not even Jakim who actually came to visit and audit us. It was actually Ilham Daya, if you actually remember. There we got actually people's like Madam Ramla, who actually very fierce sometimes, and you as a very junior was really need to be prepared, when she's coming for the audit. So then after that, it actually goes to Jakim. But I've also found that I've liked in this area because there is actually some curiosity in my mind that every time I learn new things, I really need to understand that. So even it's actually in the R&D, there's a lot of trials, and sometimes trials actually running late in the afternoon or sometimes over the weekend, which I have to thank my husband, for being very, very supportive in this. And in fact, to where I am today is also because of a very strong support system that I have with my family. Thank you for my husband. She's actually now lecturing, and he's also have PhD in halal logistic. So in a way, it is complementing each other, I guess. So in this works that I'm doing, one thing is actually as you go deeper and understandings the processings, the ingredient, the formulation, because in order for you to come up with a formulation, we're talking about halalan and tayyiban. It's just not about coming up with a product and that's it. If the consumer like it, that's it. You can launch it. But we are actually looking into many aspects on the food regulations, on the Malaysian dietary guidelines, and now as you go into a more regional roles where you start to go into developing product for China, developing product for Thailand, there's actually so many regulation and also dietary guideline that you have to comply with. So this is actually where you have that bigger view of the halal, where is actually halals get into this, and how that when you start to apply in Malaysia, and when you actually have the opportunity, the plant is actually based in Malaysia, but your formula goes to not just Malaysia, but beyond. So you brings and you introduce that halal compliances, not just to Malaysia, but to also other country. And in a way, you actually also benefiting the Muslim society that is residing in non-Muslim country when they are taking your product. So that is actually self-satisfaction in a way, but at the same time, it's also a commitment that you are giving to the company that when you do one things right, you're just going to actually go all the way, it must be right. And I think this is actually the passion that I still do have until today.
I mean, in my CCM, it was just formerly a subsidiary of an UK-based company called ICI. Their mantra is do it right the first time, every time.
Yes.
So getting it right from the start is a very important part, and getting it halal from the first time is the very important part. But unfortunately, we all know, we're all in this industry. Halal is like come in when things have already been done, and so now we are trying to undo things to make it right, and that's very, very costly, especially in pharmaceuticals and also very high scientific based products, I would say so. And the other part that Madam Mega was saying, spouse support is very, very important in this. Yeah, I'm also very, very, very appreciative of my husband, supportive, but even though he's not in the halal area, but he was very supportive. When I first have to do presentation, he was the one who researched for the materials for me. So alhamdulillah, spouse support is very important. All right, now I've gone through the four of you. So now we are on the final topic, overcoming barriers and navigating challenges and learning experience. So Akhtar, so FNN as a MNC, yeah? And
Yes.
among the oldest and most recognized brands and successful business in Singapore and Malaysia, right?
Correct.
How you shared already that in 2016 the management, the top management sees that it's important to bring halal to the forefront. But what do you think was the barriers, from the first time that they get certified in 2004? and now in 2016 you are heading it, yeah? Are the people who first started it are still there when you start to hate this?
Well, some of them, yes. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's been years, so people move here and there. Yeah, but the original team is not there. Yeah,
The originality is not there.
yeah.
And the reason why I ask is because since you were not there, I would say in a way within a big organization, sometimes personality clash is there. So we're just wanting to see whether was there a barrier that you face in terms of, hey, you were not there when we first started and now you are heading it, whether did you
Yeah.
face some obstacle?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Well, first of all, um, let me share what I thought would be a barrier at the beginning, what I thought would be a barrier was actually to get commitment from top management, my CEO, because to have halal to be where I wanted halal be in FNN, we would need a lot of investment in terms of manpower, facilities, time for training and things like that. So funny enough, it turns out that was the simple part, to convince top management. As I mentioned, it started as a casual chat, but then it became a serious conversation, and we established a new organization structure. I think as you mentioned, the main challenge is actually the mindset of the current team, if you put it that way, because if you look, what I wanted to do, what I had in mind was actually to build a halal culture within FNN. And I'm not talking about only manufacturing, I'm talking to cover all the relevant departments, be it marketing, sales, because from my point of view, every employee is a representation of the company, right? So I had that in mind. So when I started this department, and then there was already to be honest, at that time there was already a safety and quality culture within the manufacturing personnel. So every time you go to the factory, you would have safety and quality ingrained. So every move you made, every decision you made would be based on the safety and quality aspects, and be it safety of the employees, but safety of the product and quality of the product, right? So what I wanted to do was ingrain the halal culture, which means when you go to a factory, you not only think of quality and safety, but you think about halal, which means, it can be as simple as bringing food into the facilities, and you're allowed to bring your own food, but you have to ensure that it's halal, for example. It's as simple as that. But yeah, as I said, the challenge was to change the mentality and the acceptance, because we wanted to implement controls, and it was not only within the employees. What I had in mind was to implement controls with our partners, suppliers, co-manufacturers, transporters and distributors. So the challenge was actually to slowly change the mindset and the opinions of the current team, be it internal and external.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That was my task way back in 2008 when halal actually to get the materials references are not there. So even I think Mega, you would agree. I mean, you started way back when Ilham Daya, and yeah, I know she has passed. Puan Ramla has passed. I just heard from. I think she used to be together with Ustad Raja.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to audit together. So
Yeah.
Ustad Raja told me that Puan Ramla has passed due to cancer. May Allah bless her soul. Yeah, she was very, very strict. I think the strictest auditor I've ever seen.
Yep.
I've ever encountered. But they all have what do you call that, good intention, inshallah. So yeah, Mega, I was thinking, representing the women here, right? What unique challenges did you overcome? What lessons would you like to highlight?
I've been actually in 3 different companies, and at one time there were actually I'm the only lady, the only Muslim, and the only person dealing with the technical issue. So it's actually quite a challenging
Yes.
at times. But I guess when you become the subject matter expert, you gain the trust of your colleagues and also the management. So they come to you. So instead of you have to go to them, telling them that you actually have to understand and implement the halal, you just inform them this is actually where we view the importance of halal in this organization and all the benefits and all the potentials, reputations that we can further develop and enhance, and what is actually it entails. So when you know what you're talking about, and I think it's actually much easier for you to actually convince and also get their buy-in. So this is actually how I have been handling a lot of the issues when it comes to halals, whether it's actually with the management or whether it's actually at the local level, country levels, or at the global levels, or even it's actually at one time they were in one of the company where I was actually working. There were actually some ingredient which is actually under questionables. Then when I've actually go deeper and deeper and deeper, I got to have the understandings, and my advice to them is actually I'm not going to actually use this ingredient, and that ingredient is actually from Europe, has to be diverted to China. So that is actually not an easy task to do, but I think it's because when you actually able to explain in detail what could be the potential consequences and what is actually the implication to it, and this is actually where they trust your decision. So when I've actually advised them no, and you can actually use here and there, so that is actually where that supplier is not actually sending to us. Despite that, this is actually where it goes back to many years ago. Despite that, you actually can have the halal certificate from some Islamic body, but as you go deeper into it, this is actually where you find some of the things. So, but I think right now, I'm sure all the certifying bodies that is actually been recognized by JAKIM is actually also been audited by JAKIM. So that is actually why I'm actually very happy in that case. So another one is actually being a woman. Sometimes you have very high empathy, and this is actually sometimes a challenge that you face because you feel pity, kesian lah macam, but no, there are things that you have to be very firm about it, and this is actually about the principle. So as long as you go on that principles, and then you can manage. I have actually, I guess throughout the years, I've also developed in terms of the communication skill, in terms of the interactions, because being a technical person, sometimes you can be quite harsh in a way because you go on facts, but as you go up the ladder, career, and you have more people's reportings to you, and you see how their struggles, and you also learn from your struggles. So this is actually where you can also advise them. So I think I take that learning, and I today is actually I have done quite a number of classes, also mentoring my team is actually prepare them for the future, and not just in the area of new products development or science and quality or halal, but I've also actually prepared them, hopefully one day when they become a leader looking into the aspect of halal, they should also be able to look at more holistic rather than just a silo approach. So this is actually my commitment, and I think first of all, for audience out there, nothing wrong being a woman, but you just need to know your stuff. That's my key message.
I would say what I catch is that people must see you as a subject matter expert. Then you can be able to contribute effectively, right?
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. And to be a subject matter expert, you must know your stuff by doing a lot of reading. And
Yeah.
I would say you mentioned the word mentorship, right? But
Mm.
what you're saying is you are mentoring others. What about you? In order for you to be the subject matter expert, do you have somebody that you you are a mentee to?
In my own personals, I don't really have anyone that is officially mentoring me, but I do actually look up at the leaders that is actually success in their area, because sometimes when you're actually in the discussion, you are always be amazed when you hear how this person actually can explain in detail how is actually this person be able to convince through their knowledge. So this is actually where I aspire to be in that way, because I think that it give benefit to the audience who actually wanted to hear more about it. But meanings that you have to learn, not just on the job, but also on top of it, you have to read a lot. So in my case, being the director for the science and, looking into formulation and all that, I do read a lot of publications, journals. This is actually part of the information that I can also enhance my knowledge. At the same time, also discussing with people that I think is actually the subject matter expert in the area. So when I become the speaker in a number of webinar, I've also quite amazed, when I've started to see all these people who actually able to do in-depth research in their area. And this is actually, to me, where you can actually get more information. At the same time, in my roles, when it comes to the halal here, in terms of the compliances, when you're working with your supplier, is also very, very important, because this is actually where the source of information is about the ingredient and the processing. And this is actually where you can actually get more information. I've been working with many innovation center as well in part of the products development. And this is also, you understand about their commitment in halal. And this is actually how you can also assess them. And then you bring them, if you feel that they are not up to where understandings on the halal, and this is actually where you can bring them in and then advise them accordingly. I think it is actually not easy, because a number of people have their own firm decision as well. But I think you have to use your a lot of critical thinking sometimes in approaching these peoples, and be prepared. At the end of the day, it's actually what you must do is to try. If you don't try, you're not going to get there. You're not going to even start anything. But at least if you have tried, at least 50% of it, the chances that 50% that you actually have tried. So that is actually my principles in approaching all the people that is actually a bit hard on halal. But I think so far, the commitment that I got from management, whether it's actually at the global, because New Zealand, they also have the Muslim country that actually do have the halal structure in their government. So that is actually why it is very important, and I'm also happy to actually help them. Sometimes I'm also become the government to government liaison, between New Zealand team and also our JAKIM here. So this is actually where we can connect them and also enhance the understandings on halal. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, that's great. I'm happy to see that role that you are playing there in terms of the G2G also. Akhtar, go back to you. I just because it just crossed my mind, what you were doing is actually corporate culture, changing the corporate, enhancing the corporate culture from safety to also include halal into that. And that's what I was doing also way back when I was heading halal. And yeah, enculturation is very important at the corporate level also, to do it for both internal and external stakeholders. On the subject of mentorship, what about you? Do you have any mentors, or are you also a mentor to anybody?
Well, do I have any mentors? Yeah, I had a few mentors. I've had a few established halal experts in the market who sort of mentored me. I'm not afraid to name them. Encik Osman from Nestle. So yeah, and I loved his approach of sharing wisdom and experience, So, and that's what I do to my team or my direct reports,
Yeah.
because I think there's a difference between, teaching or training and mentoring, because from my point of view and what I experienced, just mentoring is a long-term relationship between the mentor and mentee, which focuses on the mentee's development and growth. So in this relationship, I think it's important for the mentor to identify the needs and goals and aspirations of the mentee. So basically, you need to get to know her or him better, and once you've done that, and you have to cater to that a specific need, then. So yeah, as mentioned earlier, I had a mentor during my early days in Halal, and I also apply the same approach to my to my team.
Very good, very good. All the best, inshallah. Let's continue this culture. What do you think, Dr. Ali, about mentorship?
You mean the people who fitted me as mentor
Both, you
yes.
being mentee to somebody, and you have somebody who is a mentor to you, and you are being a mentor to someone. What do you think about this rule of this thing called mentorship culture?
Of course, the
It does.
mentorship, the mentor can, how to say, give you the experience that he has it and save a lot of time for you. For example, Prof. Zahari experience affect me a lot in Halal Pharmaceutical. Uh, the mentality, the what you call it, the passion, also that's the importance of Islamization of the knowledge. He gave me this idea that we should do Islamization of the knowledge in everything. Uh, One other mentor is Mr. Ihsan,
Mm.
our general secretary, because SMIIC work is not academia, it's like diplomatic work. We do diplomatic relationship. We'd like to connect all countries to get one standard for all of them. So this is not something that we study in university. We should do something about standardization, and I don't have experience in standardization when I went to CIMIC first time. So he learned me a lot of things. His background is international relationship, and he is the leader of the negotiation with the Turkish department with the European Union for more than 10 years at that time, yani, more than 10 years. So Alhamdulillah, I learned from these two people a lot of things, and they save a lot of time for me. Without this mentorship, I cannot yani, become like what I have now. Same thing when I mentor a new student or mentor some people who come to the industry, I can advise them few advices that save a lot of time. Don't do like this. We are here in this industry from this long time. We tried this many times. Sometimes they told me, why you don't try this thing? This we did this 5 years ago, and it was like this. So this is what mentors do. It's like murshid in Arabic. We said murshid for murid and murshid. So the murshid is very important to guide you and give you the wisdom that he have it.
So based on your experience here, how do you think the academic institution and industry players can effectively bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge? Because you mentioned just now you're coming from theory, then His Excellency Mr. Ehsan helps you a lot in terms of the actual application, the theoretical, right? So how do you think that the academia can bridge this gap between theory and practical?
This is very difficult for the academic people because the academic people, most of the time, they are stuck to the university. I have this challenge when I moved from Malaysia to Turkey. I stay almost 2 years moving from one company to another company. I moved from my comfort zone, the academia. Everything is theory, everything is teaching classes, okay? And I go to the companies. I involved in audit and involved in training, involved in conferences, and I meet the majority of the HCBs, the halal certification bodies, at that time. So I noticed that I have a lot of theory information in halal pharmaceutical, but in practical audits and standard issues, I have some miss point. So after few years and after I joined SMIIC, I covered this part in my study, which I don't have it. I hope all academic who want to teach the student not only theory part, they should involve gradually with the government, with the project, with the industry. By this way, they can find the miss point in their knowledge. Without that, the teaching will be just theory for them. So I learn a lot from the industry, but it's taken me 2 years, 3 years to learn these things. And I was searching from one place to one place. But now I can say that this is my strength point comparing to other academic people. I have a relationship with the governmental side and industry side, and also the theory part and the academia part.
Going back to System Magazine's brother, Dr. Ali talk about the industry and academic trying to bridge the gap. You mentioned you are also a CEO at faculty, right? Can you elaborate further about the CEO at faculty? Because I think that's one of the area or one of the ways that you can bridge the gap between industry and theory. I mean, practical and theory. Am I right?
Okay, this role as a appointed CEO at the Halal Product Research Center in UPM is actually more to try to bridge the gap, as you say. So this is actually where, in terms of I'm giving the talks to the team, whether it's actually to the students when we actually have some conferences or webinar, and at the same time to having the discussion with the director, Professor Awis, and also the assistant director, which is Prof. Yus. So this is actually where we identify what is actually the area that we can actually work together. We're looking into, for example, the testing. We're looking into developing the understandings of the what is actually the needs of the industry from the students when they actually enter the industry. What is actually the expectation? Because, for example, sometimes not all the industry will have a dedicated role just for halal. Pharmaniaga, probably, you can actually have just one person just on the halal, but many other companies is actually where the role of halal usually will combine with other roles. Yeah, for example, you have halal and quality executive. So meaning that the person will need to actually have some background in quality, at the same time have a good understanding on the fiqh and also on the halal requirement. So this is actually the roles where we look at how is actually the students when they come out from the university, how to actually enhance their the workability, in terms of going into the labor force. What is actually the area that they can enter if they have certain qualification, not just on halal, but maybe in the food tech, maybe in the nutrition, maybe in the engineering, because all this is actually required. As I mentioned, not many company that I know of is actually having just a dedicated on halal executive. If they do have, meanings that it's actually whether it's a big company, but if you're actually going from the small and medium industry, especially, this is actually where sometimes one person is actually running everything from halal to quality to production and everything, So what is actually the outcome of the students that we want to produce so that they can also, once they get into, once they got their degree, they're looking for a job, which area that they can go into. So I think this is actually some of the discussion, and also giving them, sharing my knowledge in the new products development area, what is actually the halal consideration from the concept to commercialization, and in terms of the halal management. So this is actually part that we are looking at, and how we can also work together. Yeah.
Good. These are some things that I believe that what Malaysia is doing, like I mentioned during my presentation on Friday, sharing about the Malaysian experience is not, is sharing our shared amanah. We hope that the listeners are able to take this shared amanah to your side and implement it in your own wisdom that applies to your own country or your own community. So the youngest in this panel, and the one that has a unique background of Islamic studies from University Al-Azhar, Brother Hafif, what do you think of mentorship? I think you have to unmute. Hafif, you're on mute.
Hello, sorry, my mistake. Sorry, of course, I'm the youngest one here. Of course, all of you guys is my mentor. So for me, mentorship is critical for growth as a halal executive or whatever position. So it's actually help us to learn from the experienced professionals. Yeah, we want to gain their insight and, of course, to avoid common mistakes. Yeah. So as an aspiring leader, we should seek guidance from the industry experts. Yeah. We can join the professional networks, attend the halal related events and discussion. Like this platform is very good. We have a halal conference every year. So as the youngest, as the newcomers, so don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions, seek advice, and build up the relationship with the industry expert. So as a strong mentor, it actually can open door to a bigger pictures or to a new opportunities, and they can help us to to develop our career in the right direction. So a lot of mentor already helped me. So up until today, yeah, we have Dr. Johari, yeah, Dr. Johari now in Jakim itself. And of course, Prof. Zahari is one of my mentors, the first mentors ever started back in 2016, yeah, to develop during developments of the, revising the Malaysian standard for pharmaceuticals to the biopharmaceuticals. So it's very interesting. So as a background from Islamic studies and Arabic science, and it's not a pharmacy, I'm not a pharmacist. So of course, the challenge just is there. So one of the biggest challenges that I face that is, the technicality of the complexity of the formulation. So pharmaceutical products is very complex, from the beginning, from the upstream level until the downstream level, many processes involved. So in between process, we need to always ask questions, yeah. Because we don't know the material that they are using. So pharmaceutical are not like food, so they contain many ingredients, yeah, and involve a complex formulation. So some of which come from the animal base or microbial sources. So the biopharmaceuticals even worse. I would say that because it involved a very, it's a long time go a long time developments of the vaccines, the insulins. With new technology right now, we have the recombinant technology. So this will raise the questions like, how do we find the halal alternatives, right? How do we ensure the halal compliance? Yeah. And the most important thing, how do we align the halal requirement with the global pharmaceutical regulations? So in Malaysia, it could be different regulation in with the other countries. So to overcome these challenges, we need mentor. So of course, we need required also to continuously research, yeah, collaboration with the industry experts and working closely with the certification body, like in Malaysia we have Jakin, and of course, to develop the clear and practical guidelines. So, and it was not easy, but through the teamwork, persistence, and knowledge sharing, I think we made progress. Yeah. So today, as a result, so more companies are embracing on halal certification in pharmaceuticals. Back in, I think, 2010, 2012, I think maybe 2 to 3 companies that only certified halal certification for pharmaceuticals. It started with the OTC product first. Then back in September 2017, Jakim opened up this application for the poison base. So now, up until now, Jakim have evolved. So they are permissible us to apply for the biopharmaceutical product. So the advanced technology is evolved. So and the industry is slowly but surely moving into the right direction. So my key lesson today is challenges are not the roadblocks. So they are the opportunity to innovate ourselves and improve ourselves towards to enhance the halal certification in the halal industry. So I think that's it for me, Madam Rozi.
Yeah. This is a very long panel session, and I hope that the audience is happy with the sharing, because I don't want to control the length, because I really treasure the sharing of from this is an actual sharing of actual experience, and that's something that's very valuable, that you won't be able to search the internet for references on this. Other theoretical theories, you can get it from the internet, but this is practical personal experience. You won't even get it from AI, right? So I really treasure those who are here from start to now, and as a token of appreciation, I'd like to open the floor for questions from you all, if there's any. You can ask the panel, you can even ask me. Anybody? I count to 10. If there's none, let's say I count to 10 first, backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. None. Okay, but I won't let the panel out first. Rapid fire questions first a bit. Short ones from you, answers. What is the key motivation to select halal as the career path? This is the question. This is something that you have to answer. Should you go back to your younger self, what would be your key motivation to be in this career path, or would you have chosen this career path? Mega first.
Be the agent of change for the benefit of Ummah. I think if you go to some of the, I think Brother Mohammed Hafif can correct me if I'm wrong. The best of people are those that bring most benefits to the rest of mankind. So if this is actually something, then even it's actually a bit that you can change for the benefit of to the rest of the mankind. So you just go and do it. And because that is actually not just for your life today as a Muslim, but hopefully that will also help you in the day after.
I would say that's the word that you would have told yourself when you were young, and I believe this is the same thing that you are telling your children, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is actually what I'm telling them. Whatever, doesn't matter which jobs that they actually wanted to do, because my eldest is actually in master in international research. Just graduated from SOS London, and then the second one is actually doing economic, the third one doing applied chemistry, the fourth is actually still studying for the SPM. So whatever course that they wanted to do and job that they wanted to do, at the end of the day, it must bring benefit to the rest of the mankind. And this is actually what they need to find, because once you actually get that, that is actually the fire in you that will keep you moving.
Good. Akhtar, what would you have told your younger self and your children?
I think what I keep telling myself until now, I think you have to keep looking at the bigger picture. You know, don't be focused on what you're doing. Look at the impact. You know, and I totally agree. I mean, the more you impact yourself and others, the more beneficial it is. So I think by looking at the bigger picture, you can also arise more sincerity in. You may cause to rise more sincerity in what you are doing. So yeah, just keep on and yeah, stick to your principles and look at the bigger picture.
Right. Dr. Ali?
Yes. Um, I keep motivate myself by saying to myself that this is fard kifaya for all ummah. Someone should do this. And if all pharmacists around the world didn't find solution for this halal pharmaceutical, we will be in trouble, yani, from the religion point of view. So this is our fard kifaya, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us in place where our job is at the same time we can get hasanat and ajr.
Yeah,
So this is a very interesting position. You do your job and you get money at the same time you get hasanat. This
yeah.
is what keep me motivated all of the time.
Yes, yes, yes. True, very, very true indeed. Our driver should be that ultimate blessings from Allah. Okay, Hafif, you have younger. You are the one, I guess, that have the babies in the in your family, right? What would you say to younger self? Or I believe when you were studying at University Al-Azhar, you would not have imagined you are at Pharmaniaga looking at biopharmaceuticals. Right? So
Yes.
what would you have said to yourself where if you meet yourself at University Al-Azhar, and what would you also tell your younger children now? Yeah, with them this experience, and I believe even with your families, your cousins, and even I think your parents, they would not
Yeah.
believe where you are now, right? So what would you
Yeah.
have? What's your
It's
advice?
actually, it's actually, I do agree with Dr. Muhammad Ali. So I believe that this is the Fardu Kifaya for me to, to contribute to the Ummah. Yeah. So for my younger self, so basically I'm still young, 5 years old.
All of us are young.
So I think, honestly speaking, the application to Pharmaniaga is actually the resume is made up by my brother. At that time, I want to pursue my master and PhD at that time. So, but I think I want to just work with Pharmaniaga within the 6 months. But it's until today, it's 10 years already. So, mashallah, tabarakallah. So I think for me, the halal industry is not just a career; it's a mission. Yeah, so it's about ensuring the Muslim worldwide have access to the halal and tayyib products, which whether it is food, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, or medical devices. So choosing these fields means that we are a part of something bigger, which is to protecting the consumer trust, the upholding the ethical standards, and of course to strengthening the halal economy. So for me, it's a career that offer both professional growth and personal fulfillment. Yeah, madam.
Yeah, you're right. You know, Dr. Ali mentioned Fardu Kifaya. Hafif also mentioned Fardu Kifaya. But I would like to share, when we had issue in CCM that time, and Ustaz Amri came to the company to be part and parcel of the discussion. For the sake of the others, Ustaz Amri is one of the Jakim officer who started halal in Jakim from day one. And he's really, very knowledgeable and very passionate in halal. What he said to me then is still is the driver for me in halal. He said, Rozi, Puan Rozi, okay, at that time, Puan Rozi, you keep on saying it's Fardu Kifaya. No, I don't agree with you. You're the only one who knows this. It's Fardu Ain to you. Oh, that really, I at first when you said when Fardu Kifaya, you feel your shoulder, yeah, burden. When he said that, I said, "Oh no, Ustad, you really make my foot, my shoulder more burden. It's more heavy now." All right, as an accountant, which I was inspired, as I mentioned earlier, I was what do you call that? Indirectly inspired by our right and left writers that we have 24/7. I guess indirectly, it was inspired from them that I become an accountant. And now as from the accountant being, you know that you have to really balance the book. So the book is both now and the hereafter. So I would say, those experiences as an accountant still sticks into me to drive what is the fardu ain in halal. And I hope that all this sharing that we have together today, despite the long hours that spent, is fruitful. May Allah bless this sharing and bless you all, the audience who stick with us to listen to this. And I would like to share that, Alhamdulillah, the organizer has created, I hope I'm able to share, has created the Islamic Economy Academy YouTube channel, right? And the recordings from day one up to yesterday, and those who are here yesterday would have realized that Dr. Awal wasn't able to make the presentation. His presentation is already uploaded. So a very efficient organizer, and I believe that today's session, he will upload it by tomorrow. Everybody will see it already, right? Inshallah. So just search for Islamic Economy Academy in the YouTube, and you can get all the access to the videos of the recordings. He has recorded split. It's not one whole session. He split it by session. So you can pick and choose which one you want to watch. All right. So with that, let's end this session with glorifying Allah. He's so perfect. Subhanallah. And salawat to our beloved Prophet, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. And it is a reminder of Surah Al-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal-asr. Innal insana fi khusr. Illal ladzina amanu wa amilus solihati wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Let us be sabar in our journey, all of us. So with that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for everybody's contribution.
Walaikum
Jazakallah.
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for all of you. And hopefully I can get the contact with all brother and sisters here. Brother Muhammad Hafif, Sister Megawati, Brother
Yeah.
Akhtar, so we can cooperate later, inshallah.
Yes.
Inshallah, Dr. Ali.
I'll get Brother Muhammad to put us as a community.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone. Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan
Yes.
Kareem.